Alright, welcome to the Undead Crypt. As promised, there is something that we have to do before moving on. See, those solo giants that we have collected in the previous part, and two I got off screen in the meantime, they serve a purpose that is hidden. They technically lower the defense of Vendrick should we choose to attack, and we kinda have a good reason to attack him, but before we do, as long as he moves out of the way first, we can examine his corpse and use the Ashen Mist art to have a chat, so to speak, with him. This is content that was added with the DLCs and the Scholar First in Edition. We can speak to Vendrick while he was still alive. So let's talk to him.
Seeker of fire.
Don't go over there, you'll die.
No. Can you check with lives in the meantime who is voiced by Vendrick, spelled with a C and K at the end?
As flame rises, so does it fade. Such is the way of things. Do you intend to link the fire? Then you must first take the throne.
William Houston.
I heard also his name. Maybe we encountered him faster. And yeah, King Vendrick here tells us about 3 crowns lost by 3 respective kings that can also potentially help us. It's essentially your hint towards the DLCs.
It's been a combination of video games and TV shows. Most recently, he was in Horizon Call of the Mountain, Wednesday, Amphibia, Horizon Forbidden West, The Last Duel, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, among others, and he was also in Dark Souls 3, where he played Consumed King Ossi.
Oh, yes, yes, Osiris. Alright, that's what we're here, unfortunately, to do. We need to put now Vendrick down of his misery. If you tried normally, this defense would be too gigantic and it would inflict literally cheap damage. However, you know, now that we have collected enough solo giants, it should be much more doable. There is a 5th one that can also potentially help, but let me just say this, you know, in order to get it, you need to, you know, defeat the Ancient Dragon, and we ain't doing that now. But yeah, as you can see, despite the humongous health, it still should be doable. Ow. It still inflicts a lot of damage, but... and we fucked up immediately. Good to know.
Well, you saved his life. So he doesn't die.
I suppose. Well, we need to put him out of his misery still, you know. So yeah, for the time being, that's what we need to do. Because again, like I said, normally it's optional to defeat him. You even get a special trophy achievement for it. But for the purpose of our end, you know, the end game and everything, yes, it is best if we defeat him. Even in the vanilla game, it served no major purpose other than to get, you know, a bunch of souls, his soul, you know, and the achievement. So there is that. Oh, the important part is that there we go. I defeat these guys beforehand. There we go. So yeah, after you started the fight in the first place, the fog gate will, you know, replenish, will be present automatically, which makes sense. So it will come kind of like the Ancient Dragon to, you know, to start the fight immediately. So let's go for round 2. And unfortunately, I think there's no real Phantom that can help us. Maybe I'll try if I fail this time around too. I guess the tried and true, you know, strategy is to, there you go, to not get greedy. And also circle strafing, because that always works. There we go. Alright, in the meantime, Dweebs, did you have any news?
Not much. Again, there's not much time between the one when we did this and the last one we did.
Well, our audience tends to eat relatively good because, you know, because these parts, you know, went public at the beginning of October, so there is that.
bought the Super Mario Brothers movie on Blu-ray.
Well, you did saw in theaters, didn't it?
Yeah, I did. Okay, to specify, the 2023 version.
Yeah, obviously.
And yeah, it will be weird watching the movie without what I'm sitting on shaking around and without it raining on me.
Without that particular experience, I suppose.
I mean, I think it was worth watching in 4DX for the Mario Kart bit.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it makes sense. Well, are you sure that in this case, you know, it's the same movie that you saw in theaters and not, you know, doesn't have different scenes or anything? Not in a sense of the director's cut, you know, just different scenes altogether.
I haven't heard anything to suggest that.
I'm mostly joking because that's kind of what's happening with Across the Spider-Verse, unfortunately. Really,
nightmare to commentate on.
It really makes you wonder. Well, no, because you know the home video version, you know, seems to be the same across the board. It's just that it's different for some reason from the theatrical one, and even the theatrical one apparently had small scene changes in between different versions. It really feels like there was a bit of a disorganized mess because it doesn't feel like it was, you know, a marketing campaign or something weird.
We'll probably know more about that like years down the line.
Especially after probably the second part is done, you know, when it has to, because these poor bastards working on the VFX effects have been, you know, martyriated enough.
Not to mention, while the writer's strike has been resolved, the actors one at the time of recording still hasn't.
Not to mention the VFX are trying to unionize, so me thinks that it will also lead to one of their own.
We'll wait and see on that front.
Hey, if that's an excuse to actually show you, you know, old movies with practical effects and not CGI, like the original, you know, what's it called? The Rise of War of the Titans, the one about Jason and the Argonauts by Ray Harryhausen. War for it lives.
Again, I just basically go along with, if they haven't called for a boycott,
I'm mostly just joking, especially because you still need to see that movie. Well, okay, I forgot. Have you seen Spy Kids 2?
Yeah.
The skeletons in that movie are a reference to that, complete with the stop motion kind of thing. Rodriguez wanted to be cheeky.
He always wants to be cheeky, again, unless it's...
One way or another, yes.
Unless it's Battle Age or Alita, where there's like almost no trace of his identity on screen.
Well, isn't that because, you know, it's by all intents and purposes a James Cameron movie just with him in the direction?
Yeah. And, I mean, okay, putting aside that James Cameron isn't good at being James Cameron these days, Rodriguez, of all the best people in the world, he isn't either.
Well, okay, because I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen We Can Be Heroes on Netflix?
No.
Okay, because I know it's apparently a sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl without Paul Taylor Lautner, which, you know, what's even the point? Okay, but in that case, you know, either recast the character or, you know, do something else. Go on.
Actually, I think I've already said.
Go on.
I've already said in the previous video that I've been building the Dragon collection.
True. Though you're still missing something, if I recall correctly.
I've got OG.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Z movies.
All of them?
90s and 2000s. It was part of a Blu-ray collection.
Oh, that's cool.
And
We still incorporated all of them. Go on.
And I've got GT.
Okay.
I'm still missing Z, which I'm planning on getting on Blu-ray because I understand that's the least screwed up version.
Mm-hmm.
And down the line, maybe Z, Kai, and then Super.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you have the original Z version, Kai is a bit pointless, because if I recall correctly, okay, I forgot if it has the same, proper voice actors for the dub, for English dub. It's more of a case of being, not even a director's cut, it's a trimmed down edition that just keeps things to a minimum and it cuts out a lot of filler, basically.
Well, the English dub, from what I understand, is very different to the English
Oh, I don't know these kind of things, so if it is, sure, I guess, go for it.
Because, again, like I said before, whether you prefer sub or dub is entirely up to you. Me, I've always been able to.
I mean, you're also native speaking English, so you kind of are biased to your own, so I understand.
Yeah, just as I'm sure, I'm not sure how the, I'm not sure how well regarded the Z cast of Italy is, but
it's fine. Like I said, it's iconic, but it's more the script that they had to work with that I'm not super fond of, because they changed a lot of characters' name. Like Piccolo is called Junior for some reason, and I don't understand why. So I really wish they had a case of working with a new script but retaining the the original cast, which is impossible because Goku's voice actor passed away, and I'm dead. Fuck.
From what I did check ahead to check on some technical details, and while GT does let you choose in terms of the English dub between the Western-made soundtrack for it and the original one, there is no rap.
Oh no. Well, am I supposed to be sad?
Well, what if someone wants the complete experience of watching the OG?
Okay, I suppose on a technical sense, but I mean that's just being desperate. If you had to ask me, it's not just a case of being fed something that's objectively worse, but being convinced of that you have nostalgic memories about it, and therefore you're giving a disservice by not being serviced again.
Well, they did make an English version of the Japanese theme as well.
Yeah. I think Pedro showed it to me at some point. I think that's the most the thing that can be the most what's the term, dangerous part of localizations, regardless of the country. How deceptive and seductive they can be. Into giving the idea of this is automatically better because it's catering to you.
Well, I don't know about you, but in terms of pure soundtracks, at least, I'd say I prefer the dub soundtrack for Digimon for the third segment over whatever the hell they done originally.
Okay, I don't know what you're referring specifically, but unfortunately I have to be concentrated a bit, so I cannot search in the meantime. But there we go.
I'll sum it up real quick. I've listened to the original Japanese soundtrack for the third Digimon movie. I didn't like it.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, like I said, at the very least it doesn't have, random pop songs where to convey the moment. Instead have to rely on an actual soundtrack. Not to mention the fact that it's more subdued to begin with. Like, for example, the scene where Diaboromon has to transmigrate towards the American servers. The music is very tense, almost relatively quiet in terms of, portraying his migration towards the American continent, but in the original Digimon movie dub, instead we get like "All My Friends Are Metalhead." I think there's a song. It's like, "Yay, let's go on a trip to America, dude!" Fucking hell.
Well, be thankful the upcoming redub won't have that.
Well, it will. It will as an option, like you said. So there is that, I suppose.
That's only like if you watch the remaster of the 2000.
And I think it's done in that case because someone legitimately had already, done something similar to that of getting the original Blu-ray copy of a movie and just, copy pasting the American dub on it, because it was just that better to do. So I'm guessing, Discotheque convinced Bandai to say, people on the internet are doing it anyway, might as well lucrate on it,
Obviously, they had to do it themselves from scratch since they actually have the masters to work from.
Yeah.
Just
They tend to be protective of their copyright because, sometimes to the problem of not obtusity necessarily, but lack of logic. They just don't think they need potentially to to lucrate on something that has a demand, and they're perfectly fine with what they have. Which sometimes I get it because they effectively don't need more money on that front and such, have virtually no interest outside of pandering potentially. But other times it really feels like they are a bit deaf to to the rest of the world. But again, it's too much of a broadened type of argument that cannot be narrowed to one specific case.
That's why it took till 2015 for the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh to be legally available on streaming.
I'm more interested by the fact that some particular distribution of some anime were essentially these days attached to streaming services of mostly Western companies. Of course, everyone might be thinking about Bleach having, its broadcasting on Disney Plus, and I think something else also had it in the meantime. But there was also, a couple of stuff that happened on Netflix, like the Western distribution of stuff like the Dragon Quest CGI movie, or the Ni no Kuni movie, for example. I get the idea it's more of a case of Netflix scoring deals with the companies to do it, But it's still kind of an interesting case, in having to do these negotiations, especially because, I actually don't know how popular are the streaming services in Japan. I'm guessing to some degree, potentially, but I don't know how much. That's the bit frustrating thing with Vendrick, unfortunately. His moveset is very simple, but he hits like a truck. Ow. Yeah, I'm basically in endgame territory with stats and equipment, and he's still kicking my ass. I mean, it goes to show the fact that he was basically the king of a land, so there is that. There you go. I actually don't remember about his battle theme, and I cannot hear it at the moment for audio purposes, but if I recall correctly, it tries to be a bit similar to Gwyn, which makes sense. Ow.
Oh yeah, there is something actually. I can also read it. Supposedly, that merger between Microsoft and Activision would be complete within the week that we're recording this. Now,
after that, everyone can move on with their lives.
Yeah, and putting aside my own feelings on the matter, even like Phil Spencer has basically said to people, okay, don't expect everything from Activision to be on Game Pass from like the minute the merger happens. Like it's gonna take time. There's all sorts of legal and
how long have they been dealing with this at this point?
Almost a year.
Over a year.
Over even. Fucking hell. Okay, let me see if I can do something about this. Maybe I need to change my strategy.
That sword is ridiculous.
It's to compensate for something.
Yeah, again, yeah, it's like again, that's my headcanon for Cloud. That's the reason his sword's so big.
Oh, dweebs, wait until you play Crisis Core.
Oh, okay. That's why Zack's sword was so big. And that's why his attitude was so cocky.
And then there's Sephiroth.
He's trying to overcompensate for something. I mean, why do you think Barrett doesn't need a giant sword on his back?
Also, dweebs, it's again extremely hilarious considering that Crisis Core introduces another retcon and says that the Buster Sword wasn't even Zack's to begin with. Yeah, it's kind of hilarious.
Did he steal it from somebody?
Well, stealing, no. It was given to him as a, the living legacy kind of thing. Again, it's unnecessary. The original release also had this whole thing about the Buster Sword being almost this sacred object or anything, when really it barely felt like it even in the original.
So it's like Han Solo's dice lately.
Okay, no, because I still maintain what I said, when it comes to Solo, that really giving an explanation to that is harmless at worst, and honestly, it's just there. I can live without it, but I don't really think it's that too much of a bad thing. Instead, when it comes to Crisis Core, they try to make it special, the Buster Sword, when it really isn't, But it's more complicated, and you'll need to be seeing when we eventually get to the game. All right, let's see if we sort of can actually do things a bit better. We're gonna try with this one, a double blade. As for Sephiroth, oh god, it's doing even less damage. Fuck me. As for Sephiroth, his Masamune being that long is basically almost like an inside joke at Square, but with each passing game it becomes longer, like it's fucking Pinocchio's nose or something.
Like they change the size to see if people notice.
Yeah, it's brain poison, It's like the frog in the pot test. Yeah, it's the frog in the pot test. We're doing gradually so we don't notice.
Is that why whenever, there's a lot of scenes with him where there's aerial shots of his sword versus anyone else's?
Well, that's mostly because of the iconic shot of him killing Aerith in the first game, so there is that. Which, by the way, again, Rebirth has to still come out by the time we're recording this, so hi future me, I hope the story is good enough.
Plot twist, the game ends with, it turns out, Yuffie's the main villain now.
Oh, I'm fairly speculating that someone else dies instead of Aerith. Like, that feels almost too obvious as a thing. The question is just whom would.
Nah, kill her, you won't.
Go. Okay, we're not doing that much damage, but at the very least it's consuming less stamina, so we should be able to still do something about it. Again, circle strafing is always the best strategy. In the wise words of people in the Souls community, smack that booty when possible. Actually, I have a question, Dweebs, because it's a new movie releases that I don't think I heard you talking about. I don't even know if it's out in the UK yet. It's a movie from the 20th Century Studio called The Creator, and it's done by the director of Rogue One.
I'm not really that interested in seeing it, to be honest.
Okay, interesting. Thought you would.
I've seen the trailer, and
I guess you'll just wait until it hits Disney Plus.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen 2 films from Gareth Edwards. Godzilla 2014 was Godzilla 2014 pissed me off, and Rogue One was just fine.
Alright, let's go to the Doors of Pharaohs instead.
Well, since we usually bring up movies in these,
Go
I
on.
recently saw Elemental.
Oh, right.
That was lovely.
Yeah, Deji told me also...
It's on Disney Plus now, so...
Yeah, Deji also told me that he saw it recently and he enjoyed it too.
Yeah, the marketing did that movie dirty, and that's being generous.
That seems to be a common thing with Disney these days, and I don't understand why, to be honest.
It's a lovely movie. Like... I don't get it.
Well, to be fair, again, it seems that it went just as low start at the box office, but then it got regained, you know, as it went on.
It recovered.
Yeah, word of mouth seemed to do a lot for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next film is called Elio.
Elio, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a sci-fi movie from written and directed by a guy named Adrian Molina, who previously co-wrote the story and screenplay of Coco.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay, that's interesting, I guess.
Oh yeah, interesting thing about Coco, the most recent Pokemon movie in Japanese is called Pocket Monsters Coco.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the Pokemon company didn't want to risk getting sued, so they changed the title in the West to Pokemon the Movie Secrets of the Jungle.
Okay, I don't know the logistics behind it, but just to mention, Coco is a person's name, and as a result, it's not really copyright heavy, I suppose. But I can imagine.
They don't want to take any risks.
Yeah, but I can imagine, Disney throwing hissy fits, regardless. So yeah.
Well, they'll throw a hissy fit about anything, so I can understand why they changed it. And I don't know if I've mentioned in these any of these parts actually about my experience rewatching or in some cases watching for the first time the animated Pokemon movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, me and the others have been doing that for the Deji's podcast.
Yes, and I plan on joining in when you guys get to the reboot film.
It's gonna be a while.
More time to prepare then. Basically, most of them are just kind of there. A few of them are actually really good, and some are just really, really poor. Off the top of my head, the one I remember enjoying, the ones I remember enjoying the most are Free, the 8th movie, Lucario and Mystery of Mew, and Pokemon: The Power of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, the only disappointing thing about the dub of that film to me is that The Power of Us wasn't. The title of it makes it sound like the song that bears the same name is going to be some epically, awesomely cheesy 80s like power ballad, but it isn't.
Alas.
Unfortunately, I mean, they kept the rest of the music the same to the Japanese version, which is the first time they did that since the last Black and White movie. That's my thing with Pokemon dub music. They randomly get rid of the Japanese soundtrack and then just as randomly bring it back.
Yeah, it really is inconsistent.
I mean, so I can't even call it greed. It's just
inconsistent again.
It's just inconsistent. It's like they have a dartboard and they throw darts at it and
they randomly decide what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Although there is one thing. Since I saw that film in the cinema, it was the first time I heard the Japanese theme for Lugia.
Uh-huh.
It's all right, I guess. I mean, it's been a while since I've listened to the dub one from the second movie, so.
I mean, for us, it's not also helped by the fact that Deji has been taking a bit of a while to actually upload the stuff. So there is that.
Yeah, I mean, I do it, but
No. It's also his decision because technically speaking, at this point, by the time we're recording this, all of this stuff, has been already properly edited by me, you know. So technically speaking, it is there. It's just a matter that, you know, he decides to, you know, upload it when he wants to.
Yeah. So join us in 2027 when we get to the first black and white movie.
It might, because, you know, we still haven't started the Generation 5 movies yet.
What gen is black and white?
Well,
Gen
5. We're almost at the tail end, technically, of Gen 4 right now. So he's a hint.
Oh my god, did you... How far are you guys into that loose trilogy of
we just ended it. We need to do the Zoro arc movie now.
Oh, you poor guys.
Okay, speak for yourself, because I generally, you know, liked it. Not the most fantastic thing ever, but I enjoyed it for what he wanted to do.
I'm seeing most of these for the first time, so I have no idea what I'll think.
I mean, the last Diamond and Pearl movie was okay.
We haven't seen it yet, the Zoro arc movie.
Yeah, I think Zoro arc was okay. I think that's one of the better. That's one of the better. We have cute companion following us a lot around Pokemon movies.
I mean, I can imagine it doesn't take much to be better than Shaman, but...
I was gonna say, on an unrelated note, fuck Shaman.
That's just a guess, I suppose.
Yeah, Shaman, that's the one where they gave him Tails' 4Kids voice, right?
Think so. I don't remember, to be honest. It has been admitted a while since we did that. No, it's also the fact, Dweebs, that to me, one of the most annoying thing for that entire trilogy, aside from shaming, was RQ's English voice actor. I had no idea why they wanted to go for a raspy voice instead of a more, you know, calm, God appropriate kind of voice.
Maybe this way was overdone. I don't know.
No, well, okay, I had to guess because, you know, in the Japanese dub, he is actually more, accurate on that front. So it must have been, you know, a technical decision from the voice director, I suppose. Alright, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, is that we're back at the Doors of Pharaohs because, like I said, there is a place that we have yet neglected to use. But I forgot it specifically where am I need to go to trigger it. So please be patient. Okay, Pharaoh's Lockstone. Actually, we might as well use this time also to check some of the items that we got in the previous part and I didn't. I got reminded now. For example, we got the Giant Lord sword, for example. Soul of a Giant Lord who once conquered Drangleic. Eventually crossed the seas, took prisoner the giant, and brought them back to his castle, clapped in irons. However, after this modest triumph, his countenance could be seen to grow darker with his passing day. And there's that. I also got, thanks to the Ashen Mist art, if you go back to Tseldora, to the Dragon Corpse, you actually get his proper soul. In this case, the soul of a great ancient dragon that stands magnificently deep within the shrine. This powerful being stands and waits for whoever may visit him. So, there's a bit of an inconsistency in this. The soul description talks about the ancient dragon that's in the dragon shrine. But that one is about, you know, the dragon that you get from... Oh, I think it's here. There you go. From the... what's it called, the corpse that you find, you know, in Revolting called Tseldora. And if I already mentioned you, the Dragon of a Shrine drops a soul of a giant once you killed him. It's strongly implied that it's an artificially made dragon from Aldia. So basically, it's the game throwing a bit of a curveball at you. Anyway, we found what we were looking for, another thought gate, and be ready because I don't know how much we are prepared for this boss, because it's one of those you get killed fast or he kills you fast. Because we're still back in the Covenant of the Rat territory, and the rats unfortunately in this case love to inflict poison. And especially their big daddies here, the Royal Rat Authority, which looks more like a dog than a rat. I don't know if it's intentional or not. Essentially it's a case of we have Sif at home. Sorry, Shiri, we kinda need to put down the pupper.
one thing. You finish first.
That's not a dog. Anyway.
One thing I actually remember when I was about to show Pedro the power of us was how was his reaction when I told him. But you know those super duper epic awesome CG intros that the Pokemon movies had?
Yeah, we stopped doing that if I recall correctly.
They stopped doing it from that film onward, and Pedro was like, no, you can't have a Pokemon movie without the super duper epic awesome intro.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And another thing that I'm sure everyone's going to miss because me and Pedro also watched the remake of Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yeah, the CGI one.
Yeah. And yeah, I was silently inside. I was silently mourning the loss of My Brother.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you missed the Minnesota Vikings reference.
Well, I mean, the CG movie changed that scene completely.
Oh, it does? I actually don't know about that.
I might show you it later. But
well,
yeah,
we have to eventually get to that anyway.
But yeah, since the aim of the dub of that film, for the most part, was to try and be more accurate to the Japanese version of the original, unlike the focused dub of the first movie, the soundtrack, insert music aside, the soundtrack is the same as the Japanese one too. So there's no Brother My Brother, and there's no. I was actually kind of sad they got rid of the Dragonite final theme.
No fun allowed.
I actually like that bit of music. Yeah.
Jesus! What the fuck? Vomiting all over the place.
What is this being faithful shit? I want Dragonite music, damn it.
You know, considering
there we go.
The horrors you do get in these games, I'm surprised they called this a royal rat, but didn't make it the very real-world horror that is a Rat King.
Excuse me?
And if you don't know what that is, don't look it up.
Too late.
Anyway, we got his soul, so let's check that shit out. There you go, Royal Rat Authority.
Is that it?
Soul of a Royal Rat Authority of the Underground Realm. Those who chose to serve the Rat King must have the courage to face his, capital H, challenges. Similar to the Rat Vanguard that we faced, in the Grave of Saints, this essentially is your boss if you want to have an audience with the Rat King. Hooray for Pointless, yes.
But yeah, the short answer is it's a group of rats that have their tails permanently entangled together.
Yeah, I just looked it up and I was like, is that it?
Some of the images are pretty gross.
I was expecting some Eldritch Abomination, but
well, there's also in a lot of fictional media, like Terry Pratchett. Some of Terry Pratchett, not all of them, scripts, and hold on, let me talk with Rat King for a second. Hi. Let's offer the rat tail, why not, since we obtain it. Okay then. Yeah, okay, bye. The stuff like Terry Pratchett's, books, and more recently, of all things, the Nutcracker and the Four Realms, have this concept of the idea of having the rat leader being instead a sort of a voice of a legion kind of thing, and being a conglomerate of rat that assumes one form that speaks with one voice. It's just a thing that happens. Anyway, we might as well conclude the part in a second, so let's do one last thing that we can do. Essentially visit two locations. One will be going back to the Black Gulch, and one instead to Drangley Castle, because in the meantime, one thing that I found off screen is other locations. If you forgot, we found at some point a guy in a cool wheelchair, and we can get back to him in some of these specific locations just to talk to him. And since I did not, started a conversation with him yet, we can, start talking with him for the time being. Ow. Get away from me. I think I'm just supposed to drop here. Fuck!
Sometimes I wonder if if this playthrough is secretly an excuse for Teo to pretend he's the angry video game nerd.
What a buttload of fuck.
Exactly.
What were they thinking? Where's the extra Estus flake? He might ask.
And Teo's he's gonna be putting on that shirt next.
I think it might be a bit too tight. I'm not really. I prefer, t-shirts over, business shirts. I know that they make people, inherently 20% cooler, but. Oh, hello there, Lucatiel. I actually forgot you can talk with her here. Well, might as well.
Still on the road, are you? Sorry to have burdened you so. This is for you, by way of an apology.
And we get the Ring of Steel Protection +1.
I found my thoughts growing hazy.
Unfortunately, like I said, Lucatiel is going slowly hollow day by day. So, unfortunately, as you can imagine, the story will not be a happy ending. But I actually thought we actually had soft locked away her side quest. But still cool, I guess. We can talk to her occasionally.
Dark Souls having a happy ending is about as rare as Resident Evil having a good movie.
Sometimes it can happen. There are one or two minor cases, mostly patches, because he's kind of a fan pet character for Hidetaka Miyazaki, he even gives you basically a meta blessing. If we ever get it far enough in Dark Souls 3 and manage to get his questline completed, he even gives you a sort of a meta blessing and literally does one of those fake title drops and tells you a fine Dark Soul to you.
Someone would hear me.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. You know what? Cheers in video games should just replace the word cheers with their video game titles. Yeah. And a happy Uncharted to you. Maybe it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, in some cases they basically have to, because the title describes literally the actions that you do, like say "Papers, Please," But
this truly was an Undertale.
Da-da-da-da.
Soon I may forget even about him.
Sorry for the notification. For some reason I cannot turn that off. Okay, I'm done with this. Okay, if we ever manage to get back to Lucatiel, I'll make sure, but we're not here for that. We're here to get down to business. To defeat the poison. I think it's around there. Oh no, it's actually there, okay. I love how also I'm completely ignoring the enemies at this point, because we're basically done with this place. There we go. Alright, let's talk to old man in a cool wheelchair.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Old Man in Wheelchair.
I forgot actually what his name is, so I'll try to find him in between parts and tell you, unless he tells us in between.
Seeing Gandalf like this is just...
I mean, like you said, the wheelchair is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Like he's got a throne wheelchair.
It's very comfy, you can tell there's the extra lever, to make the rest actually more comfortable.
Yeah, he's got a recliner as well.
Alright, that's his second encounter. Now you know already what the location is for the third one, so we don't have to do anything. Much aside from simple teleportation, and then we're done. That's because his purpose is a bigger one, but I don't think we should be able to complete, his actual side quest, because it requires a long process, and it's not necessarily luck-based, but it requires a lot of patience and preparations that, if getting stuck on King Vendrick being this part was an indication, in that case it would be even worse. It's a cool payoff, admittedly, but unfortunately, it would require a lot of time that I don't think works well for these streams. There we go. And if I recall correctly, yeah, there you go, here. We're back in Drangleic Castle, and unlocking this particular door by doing a bit of, mumbo jumbo, you get this third encounter.
You have the look of a true seeker. I am Dark Diver.
There you go, Dark Diver Grandahal, with a H at the before between the A and the L.
If you seek true dark, I will grant it to you, as much as you desire.
Dark Diver Grandahal.
Is dark what you wish for?
Okay, let me just see if I can find it. Sean Barrett.
I think we talked about him in the past, but... Alright, since we're not going back to the red stuff, we might as well just say yes for the Covenant. I will fix things off screen between, off screen.
There's been a lot of old movies. He was in Labyrinth, Return to Oz, The Dark Crystal, and he was in it was in an anime I got on Blu-ray recently. The English dub of Cyber City Oedo 808.
Okay. Basically, the entire shtick with the Pilgrim of the Dark Covenant is that you have to reach, old man in a wheelchair in these locations, enter the abyss chasm through those portals, and essentially clean up the place. If you manage to do this 3 times, you will be able to have the blessing of facing a super boss, and if you beat that, you will actually get particular items. So there is that. But again, like I said, we don't really have much time or patience to do it right now. Yeah. So and fine and whatever, dark to you. All right then. Unfortunately, we didn't accomplish that much in this part, but we'll get eventually back to Vendrick. So here's what we're gonna do. Next part, we're gonna start the DLCs. Starting with the first one that they released, The Crown of the Sunken King, which is an entire poison dungeon again. So see you for that.
Yay!
Yay! See ya.